Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karnebhyः Shriniyaama Devaः Bhadram Pashyemakshabhiryajatraः Sthirairangaiः Sushtuvagunsastanubhih Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuः Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravah Swasti nः Pusha Vishvavedaः Swasti nastaksho Arishthanemihi Swasti no Brihaspatirdadatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Manohir Vividham Proktam Shuddham cha Shuddhameva cha Ashuddham Kama Sankalpam Shuddham Kama Vivarjitam Mana eva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Mokshayoh Bandhaya Vishayasaktam Muktam Nirvishayam Smritam Yato Nirvishayasyasya Manaso Bhuktirishyate Ato Nirvishayam Nityam Manah Karyam Mumukshuna. Nirasta Vishaya Sangam Sanniruddham Manohridi Yada Yatyatmano Bhavam Tada Tatparamam Padam Tavadeva Nirodhavyam Yavad Vridigatam Kshayam Etadjnanam cha dhyanam cha Shesho nyayascha vistaraha Naiva chintyam na chachintyam Chintyam chintyameva cha Akshapata vinirmuktam Brahma sampadyate tada Svarena samdhayet yogam Aswaram bhavayet param Aswarena anubhavena Bhavo na bhavaishyate. Omkar Upasana is what we are talking about. It's a very big topic. And why should Omkara be a pet of all meditators? It is because it has everything loaded into it. Jagat is loaded into it along with who? You. Yes. What you think of yourself as, and what do you think of yourself as? Waker, oh no, waker, aha, sleeper, nightmarer, dreamer. This is how one thinks, and that reality is included. And one thinks that this Jagat is real, so that reality, quote unquote reality, is also included. And so the syllables a, u and are loaded with all the things we pointed out. Waker and the waking experience, which drags in the whole Jagat. And then, Ishvara in the form of the Jagat, because Ishvara is not someone who made the Jagat and then ran away for an extended holiday. No. I'm not going to be seen near my creation. No. Because in our tradition, Ishvara is non-separate from the Jagat. In fact, the whole Jagat leans on Ishvara. So Ishvara is very much there in A, correct? What about in U? Is Ishvara there or not? Absolutely, as a potential. What about in Is Ishvara there or not? Everywhere. I am there or not, that I have to think and tell. I don't know. But Ishvara is definitely there. You are also there. Because the sleeper is who? You. In class, outside class, same thing. You. Yeah. Agyaha. Agyaha means what? Forever ignorant. In the sleep, I don't know anything. Pragyaha. Prakarshena agyaha. And the counterpart is Ishvaraha on the other side, on the collective, side. Ishvara without any attributes. Oh, I thought Ishvara has no attributes to begin with. No, when we look at the Jagat becomes an as though attribute of Ishvara gaining the status of as though creator. Without those attributes, here when there is no Jagat, Ishvara is very much there, and that Ishvara is none other than your presence in sleep. No problems, you cannot create any problems. And likewise, on the other side also, Ishvara also cannot create any problems, so to speak, in the form of what? Sending an earthquake. Where will the earthquake? There is no earth. Where will the quake come? Can't come. Tsunami. There is no earth, there is no ocean, there is nothing. So all these things are not there. There is nirvikalpa. There is nirvikalpa on the level of the sleeper. There is no vikalpa. Vikalpa means, any kind of duality. There is no duality, and then on the collective level also no duality. These are the universal experiences that relate, that link the individual to the total. And in the word Om, all of them have been brought in. But then which is Brahman? Because in the previous word, Chintyam, Achintyam, Brahma Sampadyate tada, correct? But which is Brahman? Where is Brahman? Waker? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Dreamer?
Yeah.
Sleeper? Yeah. But then where is this Brahman? The Mandukya Upanishad takes a very drastic stance, and then here is where it's all a one-way affair when we study Vedanta. Waker is nothing but Brahman, correct? Brahman, not the waker. Oh, that. Yeah, that. Sleeper is nothing but Brahman. Brahman is not sleeping. Dreamer is nothing but Brahman. Brahman is not the dreamer. Oh. So waker is Brahman, yes. Brahman is waker? No. Sleeper is Brahman? Yes. Sleeper is non-separate from Brahman. The identity of the sleeper relies on that single presence called Brahman. So there is only one identity, one presence that is manifest as waker, sleeper, dreamer. As the waking world, sleeping world, or the world less Ishvara, or the potential to manifest. It's manifest as so many possibilities at the individual and the collective level, as the universe as a possibility, as the non-universe, it is manifest as just the knowledge without the universe, it's manifest as, and it's also de-manifest as in the last case. And so this presence, which is Brahman, when we talk about Om, where is this Brahman? In the letters A, U, Ma? No, not found. Because A, U, Ma only express one portion of the reality. And what is that one portion of the reality? Waker is nothing but Brahman. Sleeper is nothing but Brahman. Dreamer is nothing but Brahman. A, U, Ma covered. But what is Brahman? Where is Brahman? In fact, Brahman is outside the word Om. Very interesting. Outside means where? Before or after? We will say after. Yeah, outside the word Om is the presence of Brahman, without attributes. Ishvara without any attributes. But in sleep also, but sleep also is a certain state, correct? It's a certain state because it is a kind of a relative state. Manifestation, relative to that, demanifestation. So demanifestation is a state and named so because it's incumbent upon the manifestation later, or it is counting off a manifestation before. Correct? Oh, so Brahman is outside Om, yeah, and then I am inside Om. Are you Brahman or not? Ask me tomorrow. Are you Brahman or not? Say yes, come on. Yes. So if I am Brahman, then where is my presence? My presence also has to be exactly where Brahman is, correct? And when we say Brahman, we are talking of consciousness. So where is consciousness? Of course consciousness is where the baker is, consciousness is where the dreamer is, consciousness is where the sleeper is. It's all pervasive, it is everything, it is everywhere. But then it has a special place in this Om, in this, it's outside of this trilogy of this three-part saga of this whole Jagat. And the miserable jiva that drags along, and it's outside of that scope. And to show that, so what happens between one Om and another Om? What happens when the Om is that ucharana is made, the pronunciation, enunciation, Om, and then you have to say one more, correct? Om. And even if you said fast, Om, 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 you still have to close the mouth and open the mouth. I mean, you'll just look like a fish, that's all. Breathing under the water. That's what you look like. Om, 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 if you say. But still there is a split second of what?
Silence.
Maunam, silence. And that is what that is why it is called the fourth, because these three are there, correct? And unfortunately these three are counted as real. The non-reality of the sleeping and the dream and the the other one, the occasional waking state is taken to be real. And then so from that standpoint, this one is counted as the fourth. And what is it called? Chaturiya. Chaturiya, or it has a pet name, Turiya. The cha is elided, Turiya. And there are so many theses on Turiya. All of them are a big cross, wrong theses based on all kinds of wrong conjectures. Brahman is the fourth state. It's not the fourth state. It's an expression. That's just an expression, because the Upanishad reckons. Upanishad doesn't use the word Chaturiya. Maybe in not the Mandukya, maybe in some other places, but maybe it is used. I know in one Samaveda chant it is used. But the Mandukya Upanishad simply presents that, which, because it is a nameless, timeless, spaceless, as though location for that which is locationless. And why is that silence needed after That silence is needed because that is the truth of the word Om. Om, when, at the level of the example, Om arises from what? Silence. No, I was talking before I said Om, but still, you kept quiet for a second, correct? Barely. That's enough. That counts. You kept quiet for a second. You were talking about what movie to go and see. And then you kept quiet for a second and said, let me think about Om. And then you said Om. And in between movie and Om, there was a split second silence. That nanosecond nano silence, that is the home of Om. Right? That is the home of Om. And so therefore, that is seen as a very, it's all paradoxical as it were, because it's seen as a very interesting placeholder for that which is all pervasive on the level of the example. So Om, and that silence in between is, comes back home to Brahman. Om is home. How? Because the waker, dreamer, sleeper resolves into what? That silence here is a marker of Brahman. And it has been wrongly understood. Like this Turiya, there is a lot of, wrong ideas. Brahman is all silence. Somebody gave a talk for 2 hours. Those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. And then the Swami talked for 2 hours, one particular person. And after he left, Pujya Swamiji said, now I'll have to take a week-long classes to undo whatever has been done. That's what it is. All wrong, something, ideas. Silence is Brahman. Everybody go into silence. I mean, silence is highly recommended. I'm not against silence, please, Please keep silent. It's wonderful. Yeah. Highly recommended for a happy domestic life also. Silence. Maunam, no problem. But my issue here, and this is something we have to understand, is if Brahman is silence, what is speech? We have to say devil. If silence is Ishvara, Ishvara is silence, then what is speech? Speech kim, Vak kim, what is Vak? So Vak has to be Brahman, correct? So that means there is a Hani. Hani means what? Anantya Hanihi. There is a loss of limitlessness because speech delimits silence. In fact, the silence is hard to find, And that's why people have all kinds of ideas. Silence is so rare, like Brahman. The occurrence of silence, the more silent you are, Brahman bubbles up, and like soap bubbles comes out of the ears and nose. And you experience Brahman in silence. So therefore, be silent. Very persuasive, but unfortunately wrong argument. Because if Brahman is experienced only in silence, then what about in speech? What about when one is shouting? What about when one is screaming? There is no Brahman in that means you're saying there is no Brahman in the waking state, because in the waking state alone this fellow talks. Correct? So that means that the whole has been gone. So it should just be not Om. Because that has been cancelled out by this argument that only in silence Brahman erupts like a volcano, like all light and sound show, light and silence show, Ridiculous. This has to be understood properly, that one doesn't cancel out the other. And so even this silence is just an example, because we are talking of an example from this syllable called Om, which has 3 matras. A monosyllabic word with 3 matras. Om. That's all it is. And so that is seen as a drishtanta, as a metaphor for this whole universe and the presence upon which the universe leans on, because the universe is not independent of that presence. In connection with the universe, that presence gains the epithet of Brahman Ishvara. That's what it is, and that presence is not outside of my presence. In fact, it is identical to my presence. So we have a beautiful juxtaposition of the macro and the micro at the same time. This fellow waking up, everything hurts. Do I have to get up? What day is it? Saturday. Oh no, 1 month course. So Even Saturday is not spared. In fact, it's busier than other days. You know, oh, I have to wake up. This complaining person waking up is Ishvarized immediately, because it's contrasted with the effortless Ishvara spreading itself, himself, herself as the universe, so to speak. And everything is, infallibly connected, including this fellow's complaints. It includes those complaints and transcends them also. What a wonderful thing! And so, when you break down the Om into microsyllables, that make up Om, this is on the level of the example. You start from the microcosmic universal experiences, what people do every day. So the universal experience of waking, dream, sleep, sleep, dream. And this is what waking, dream, sleep. It's in this particular order, because waking, dream, sleep. And it's in this particular order because I think of myself as the waker and, and sleeper, dreamer, etc. But here the order is switched, because we want to end in sleep, because the waking, and because after sleep what comes? Waking. That's why the order has been switched there. O stands for this, and U stands for dreamer, and stands for sleeper. So the whole thing has been switched, because after sleep you wake up. That is the whole idea. And so therefore, this, on the individual level, this universal experience to which everybody can relate. It's not just people who are Hindus who are having, this is only for Hindus, because only they sleep, only they wake up, only they, complain, only they dream. No, this is universal. In fact, all jivas, even dogs and cats, have dreams. So this is all the jivas have these experiences. But here we are talking of human beings, because this is about the communication of the knowledge. And so therefore, this dream, sleep, waking on the individual, on the microcosmic level, is a universal experience. And so if it is my experience and it is universal, it no longer becomes my experience. I'm already abstracting from it. First I say, I am the waker. And then very soon I understand, okay, each one is saying, I, waker, waker, waker. The whole, all the jivas, if you count dogs, cats, earthworms, birds, everyone, all of them are waking up. And interestingly, at the same time, think about it. So this has become, so the waking experience is no longer a single person's rant, in the morning. It has become a universal experience, where, everything is waking up at the same time. So that's part A of this. And what is part B? Part B is that when I wake up, I find that everything is waking up with me, and then I find that the waker, that is me, includes the whole waking world. I'm not outside of the waking world. I'm no longer alone, alienated, fearful, because I'm waking into a world that is waiting for me to wake up. There is a very beautiful custom in the Hindu temples called Suprabhatam. This is the same thing we do to Bhagavan. There is morning seva, worship. And what is there? They say that, what will happen to the world if you don't wake up, O Lord? Please wake up. The birds are waiting. The human beings are waiting. The plants are waiting. The sun is waiting for your command. Once you wake up, everything will happen. So it's like, that's very beautiful. So here, it's just a metaphorical understanding of how the syllable A, for example, stands not just for the waker, but for the entire waking world, in which I am an agent. That we have to not, forget. I am an agent only in the waking state. In the dream state and sleep state, I am a bhokta. I can only be a karta in the waking state. But in the dream also I am doing things. Yeah, but in the dream, if you go and if you are a cut purse and you go and make off with somebody's wallet, you don't go to prison. No, but I went to prison. That's dream prison. Okay? Yeah. You are not culpable. So that's why it is bhoga. Dream is bhoga, sleep is bhoga, and all the karya and the kartritvam and the punya, because only in the waking state you can accrue punya. Oh, Papa also, yes, but let's focus on the good things. Only in the waking state you can accrue punya. And only in the waking state you can pursue self-knowledge. That's why don't sleep in class, you know. That's one of the most compelling reasons not to go to sleep in class. So the waking state is very shrestha, because this is what is that? This is a this is where the jnanendriyas are active, karmendriyas are active, the sense organs are active, the organs of actions are active, and there is both kartritvam and bhoktritvam simultaneously happening. I can accrue punya, I can spend my punya, I can cancel out the punya by doing something that one is not proud of. And then what else? I can pursue this knowledge. I can pursue moksha as a purushartha. All the purusharthas are in the waking state. All the pursuits are in the waking state. It's very shrestha. And but then we have to understand that this is not the only reality. In fact, this is just a, it's like a, what's that? It's like a phantom reality. A phantom reality. Ooh, phantom reality. Phantom reality. No, but what about the whole world? You're forgetting. You said, okay, waker is phantom reality, but what about the waking world? Where is the waking world when you're sleeping? Huh? Where is it? That's why it's called Jayate Gacchati iti Jagat. That which is, that which goes. Is goes. Born is goes. Born is goes. Is goes born. Was born goes. Is gone born. Born is gone. That is Jagat. Gone born is. All the cycles. U, ma, u, u. Doesn't matter how you say it. It's all the same. More of the same. And so, the true home of Atma / Brahman, because they are identical, synonyms. The true home of I, the true home of Brahman, is not in these alternating cycles of u, and whatever it stands for. The true home is where it is called Ashabda. This is Shabda, sound, and here it is Ashabda, the unuttered, that which is unuttered. And that is what is become the, what's the word for it? Turiya has become the poster child of anybody, briefly spiritual. Really, something or the other. Fourth state. What is it like? It's a special experience. Somebody told me this. It's a special, like I have experienced Turiya. This is what, this is one of the occupational hazards of being involved in interfaith dialogue. I have experienced Turiya. Oh, what is that like? It's a special experience. What is that like? I can't tell you because it will go away. If it goes away, then it is not forever, correct? No, it is forever, but it cannot be talked about. It has to only be experienced. So tell me how to experience. No, it is an accidental, wonder. So you came upon it by accident. No. For me it was a blessing, but for other people it's an accident. Not fair. And then what? How do you experience it? I didn't want to give up. I wanted to understand this. How do you experience this? This is somewhere in Uttarakashi. How do you experience it? Well, there is something that drops. Drops? Yes, drops of some liquid come I can't even keep a straight face while talking about it. Come to the back of the throat and you swallow. This is really, somebody told me this. And you swallow. Aha, it's the best taste. I said, what can you taste at the back of the throat? Keep quiet, you don't understand anything, just listen. It's the best taste, the rarest of taste. And the person went on and on. I concluded it must be some leakage of cerebral spinal fluid. That's the only thing. Needs a shunt or something like that. That's all it needs. It cannot, if that is Turiya, then it is finite. It's an object. So you can trap those drops and take them for laboratory testing. It becomes an object. Here, Turiya means the subject that is inhabiting the truth of the waker, the content of the dreamer, the truth of the sleeper, the one who is inhabiting, as it were, those states without being affected by those states. Where is that person's home? It's in the silence. It is not in the silence, it is in what is represented by the silence after the Om. Did you understand the difference? Because if it is in silence, then we should stop talking. Why are we talking? Yap, yap, yap. So many classes starting tonight. So, therefore, the Turiya, or what is called Ashabda, Shabda and Ashabda. That Ashabda, what happens? There is the understanding of the I. When Omkara Upasana is taken up and you repeat Om, Om, Om with meaning. You understand Om, waker, dreamer, sleeper, and resolves into what? Brahman. And then again what? Waker, dreamer, sleeper, resolves into what? Atma, Brahman. Waker, dreamer, sleeper, Om, Om, Om. And that resolved presence, which is neither waker nor dreamer nor sleeper, but upkeeps everything, sustains everything, and sustains the waker and gives rise to the sleeper, as though without being affected by the sleeper, waker, dreamer. That is the meaning of the word Turiya. That is the meaning of the word Brahman. That is what Om leads to. So Om also is not the whole truth, because the whole truth is slightly outside of Om, so to speak. Om is the experienced truth, so to speak. It's not outside of the truth, but it is not the whole story. Truth is Om. Om is not the whole truth, because along with Om, you bring in that moment of silence to make it complete, to know that just as Om erupts out of silence, is sustained by silence and resolves into silence, these three states come from that which is the stateless being, the stateless presence, Atma, Brahman, Ishvara. That presence, that consciousness. It's a conscious presence which is all knowledge, and it has to be limitless because it's neither the waker nor the dreamer nor the sleeper. And so this is again on the one side, on the macrocosmic side. As one gets more adept at Omkara Upasana, you bring in the other side as well. What is the other side? The waking world. Om means what? The whole Jagat has come and gone. Om, Om. And the silence between the chants is Ishvara without the Jagat. But how is that different from Ishvara here in the That is also a resolved state. Yes, but it's a resolved state in between the manifestations. Here we are letting go of the possibility of the manifestation also, and just looking at that presence, identifying with that presence. So that is what is called Omkara Upasana, highly valued and is a very important, a very salient secondary aid to the knowledge. Shravanam is the primary sadhana, and this is what is called secondary sadhana, because sometimes there are blockages and resistance, and this is not understood. So a secondary sadhana in the form of Omkara Upasana is advised in the Upanishad in verse number 9, not 9, 7. Let us take a look at that. Swarena sandhayet yogam. I told you that same verb, sandhayet, is used where? Where did I tell you? In the Mundaka Upanishad. In the Mundaka Upanishad it is used, to show that this Omkara is, is to be practiced. So the same word is used. Sandhayet, may one join yogam. Yoga here is meditation. So may one join what? May one join oneself with swara. Oh, what kind of swara? Saregama pada nisa. That kind of swara? Do re mi? No. Or Vedic swaras? No. Swara here means the only swara. And what is the most pavana, the purest and the only swara that is worth counting is Om. Yogam is that union with oneself. That is the practice of meditation, union with the truth of oneself, or you can say union with Ishvara, both of them. Swarena sandhayet. Make that happen with the swara, this yoga. Here yoga is not karma yoga and yoga is not down dog, neither of those. Yoga here means the joining together of the individual with the total, because the total has to be understood as non-separate from the individual. That is not happening just by the coming to the classes and pursuing the knowledge. So obviously there is some block there, and so to remove the blocks, to calm down the mind and to really, do some kind of nididhyasana, is to practice assimilating the words of Vedanta. So this is what is prescribed. Either you can say nididhyasana, or you can say just a simple meditation for nishchalata and antahkarana shuddhi, antaranga sadhana. So this antaranga sadhana means an inward practice, the practice which is not externalized, where there is no jagat involved. Yeah. No, but the cushion I sit on belongs to the Jagat or not? Yes, the cushion belongs to the Jagat, so your little ding-ding bell also belongs to the Jagat, but after you have dinged it and perched on the cushion, you forget about the cushion, correct? You may as well be sitting on a pin cushion, no problem. You forget about the cushion, that is the whole idea. In the beginning you want it to be cushy, that's why cushion, and then after that, there is no need for cushion, because you have forgotten the cushion. You may as well be, levitating in the air, no cushion, correct? And so those are all just part of the Jagat, but that Jagat is forgotten here. Vismriti prayaha, and then what? So here, Swarena sandhayet. So may this union between the individual and the total, between the Jiva and Ishvara, here, let us take it like that at first. May the union between Jiva and Ishvara, may it be done through the help of the Swara. Because obviously, who is meditating, we have to first find out. Who is meditating? Is the meditator the one who knows or the one who doesn't know? The one who perhaps is in the process of knowing. Or maybe it is somebody who knows, for which again we can have a different interpretation of the same verse. Let us first take it as someone who doesn't know. Someone who doesn't know is meditating. Someone who is in the process of knowing. And therefore what? Therefore that person, if you just say Ishvara is neither the waker, nor the dreamer, nor the sleeper, Ishvara is neither the Jagat, nor the maker of the Jagat, in fact there is no Jagat, that person is going to be very confused. Correct? And you are that Ishvara which is neither the waker, you are not the waker. Yeah, that I knew. But you are not the dreamer. Oh, you are not the sleeper. And then Ishvara is also not really the karta of this Jagat, because really speaking, there is no Jagat. You know that? No, I don't know that. So this person will be extremely confused. So you can't meditate upon the formless. Yeah, please understand this. I don't know how this is such a simple thing, such a simple, basic, logical reality. And there are whole religions that are based on praying to the formless and meditating upon the formless. I don't know how they accomplish it. And you cannot meditate upon the formless. Adi Shankara puts it beautifully. What does he say? Param chet jnayeta aparam chet dhyayeta. If it is Sagunam Brahma, if it is Ishvara along with the status of the maker of the Jagat, then you can meditate upon Ishvara, because still there is an object-subject difference, because I am identifying myself as the, as what? As a subject, all right, but subject to all kinds of wrongdoings and fears and tears. And Ishvara is the total, so that slight difference is still there. I am the devotee, and then Ishvara is the object of devotion. And so therefore this difference lets me have this meditation. But then if I am talking about Brahman, that which is the truth of Ishvara, truth of the Jiva, the content of the Jagat, and the truth of the waker, dreamer, all these things, if I am talking of that presence, how to meditate upon it as an object? How is that even possible? It's not possible to meditate upon it as an object, because it is not an object, it's the very nature of the subject. But however, our meditator, as we saw, doesn't know all this. Okay, meditate upon Ishvara. So what do? You take hold of Om, and then somebody gives the Omkara Upasana, explains what Om is. This is you as the waker, which includes Ishvara as the waking world. This is you as the dreamer, which includes Ishvara as the potential, including your potential to dream. This is you as the sleeper. And this is Ishvara, in between manifestation. In a state of demanifestation, laya. So this the person understands and say, oh, I'd love to do that. Om is equal to me plus Ishvara. Wonderful. Me and Ishvara having chai. This is Om. This is wonderful. So the person happily goes on saying what? Om, 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 Om. That is what it means. Svarena sandhayet yogam. You start off the meditation. You need a place to start. You start off the meditation with swara. And then what? Asvarena bhavayet param. But then what happens? Don't forget the silence that comes after the Om. That is consciousness. That is you. And that is the truth of Bhagavan, which is consciousness. The truth of you, consciousness. Truth of sleeper, dreamer, waker, consciousness. Truth of Jagat, consciousness. Truth of manifest Jagat, consciousness. Truth of unmanifest Jagat, consciousness. Truth of Jagat about to manifest, consciousness. Truth of truth, consciousness. Truth of consciousness, consciousness. So this consciousness you can't meditate upon as an object. So bhavayet. Bhavayet means what? Contemplate as yourself which is Ishvara, which is the only presence where the Jagat doesn't come into the picture at all. There's just you. And that you is not the complaining you. That you is not the one who says, oh, should I go and buy milk tonight or tomorrow? That you is not the one who wonders if the house was unlocked. And that you is not the one who wonders, when will I get moksha? That you is the one which is the truth of all of this. And so, asvarena bhavayet param. So you start off with a mantra. It could be Om or it could be any mantra. Swara here actually means Pranava Upasana, but it could be any mantra. You start off with any mantra. Swara doesn't mean sound, otherwise you could just be doing some sound. That's not the point. Swara here means mantra, but specifically refers to the holiest of mantras, Omkara Upasana. So Om, Aswarena, but don't forget that space between the two chants as the basis of the chant itself, as the basis of Ishvara, as the basis of you. Don't forget that. That you is not something to be objectified. That you is understood and assimilated as that self, what is that called? Self-effulgent, self-evident I. It cannot be objectified. Fortunately, it need not be objectified. Okay? So now, then, aswarena anubhavena. Anubhavena means by that constant contemplation. Soundless. Soundless means not relying upon the sound. And what does the sound signify? The sound signifies Saguna Brahma. And so the no sound signifies Nirgunam Brahma, which is you. So meditating on the truth of yourself, contemplating on the truth of yourself, bhavaha na abhavaha ishyate. Ishyate could have very well been said at, shishyate. What shishyate, what remains is presence. When I meditate on the absence of the sound, abhava, aswara. When I meditate on aswara, so what would one expect? When I meditate on that which is soundless, then what should happen? Absence it should reveal, but ironically it reveals the presence. When I meditate on the absence of the sound, when I contemplate on the absence, that absence is so powerful it reveals the presence. And that presence is the holiest of presence, which is what is taught by the Upanishad, and that which is, one is encouraged to keep, assimilating in the meditation. So here, very beautiful. Swarena sandhayet yogam. So we have seen one meaning. I'm just going to recapitulate it and then we'll see the next meaning. Swarena sandhayet yogam. Start off with discovering Ishvara as Om and including yourself in this discovery, and so relate to Ishvara with the help of a bridge called Om, where it includes you and your little problems in the waking, dreaming states. In the sleep also problems are not there, that's why I didn't include it. In the sleep state also is included. So it includes you. So the Omkara is a bridge between you and Ishvara. You which is aparoksha and Ishvara which is somewhere not even approachable. Paroksha. So the paroksha, Ishvara and aparoksha Atma are bridged with the Om Setu, with a bridge called Om. Correct? And then what? And then there is no need for a bridge. Why? Because it is abridged into this silence after the Om. There is no need for the bridge. The bridge drops off and I am not hanging in space because the bridge has served the purpose. I am not, hanging in space or free falling in space because the bridge has served this purpose by mitigating or disappearing the distance between myself and Ishvara, because the distance was based on wrong perception. So it has worn away the wrong perceptions. Om, Om, Om. I keep including myself in Ishvara, so there is no need for a bridge. I thought I was not included and now I am included, so the bridge has fallen away. And then when there is no need for the bridge, I am not uttering Om, in between the Om, one Om and another Om, or when I finish uttering Om and in the silence, what happens? That oneness is inscribed, that oneness is understood. And with that appreciation of the oneness, the absence of the bridge in the form of the sound reveals the presence, which is myself, which is Ishvara. So that is the first meaning. Second meaning is more not just in one meditation, but through a stages, through a series of stages. So what does one do in the beginning? Om 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 Om. One meditation over. Om 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 Om. Second meditation over. Like this, after a few thousand rounds of sitting in Om, then what happens when one becomes an adept meditator? What happens? That Om naturally drops off. Swara becomes Aswara. The mantra naturally resolves into you. Any mantra, Gayatri mantra, Omkara Upasana, Om Namah Shivaya, after a while it just drops off. Naturally drops off. And what does it reveal? You. Are you there or not? Or did you also drop off? I did drop off to sleep, but now I'm there. See, that's what it is. So the loss of the mantra reveals the presence of that. So it's very interesting, because when chanted, the mantra reveals Sagunam Brahma and your connection to Sagunam Brahma as a devotee. And when the mantra drops off, it reveals, even in its dropping, that silence reveals Nirgunam Brahma as the truth of yourself. You cannot say, what kind of puja do you do? आप सगुण ब्रह्म के उपासक हैं कि निर्गुण ब्रह्म के उपासक हैं? This is ridiculous. Yeah, you cannot, param chet jnayetha. If it is param, if we are talking of nirguna, then it is not something to be objectified or to be identified as an object. It is to be contemplated upon as oneself. If it is sagunam, it is Ishvara, then it can be, it is an object of worship. Ishvara as the creator, etc., etc. So therefore, this presence and absence is very interesting. The absence of the mantra reveals the presence of the one who can never be negated even by the absence of the mantra. So it's a lot of nice puns. The absence reveals the presence, and the presence also reveals the presence. The presence of the mantra reveals the presence of the Ishvara as Jagat Karanam Brahma, as the cause of this universe, who is to be sought after and who has to be understood as the truth of oneself. But in the beginning, one approaches Ishvara as an object of worship, as an object of fear, as an object that is something far away. And later on, what happens? One understands Ishvara as the truth of oneself. So you can take it as a graduation in the meditation, or you can take even in one meditation that sound portion, know that, to be the beginning of the meditation, and know that soundlessness to really underscore your own presence as the truth of the whole universe, and as the truth which is beyond the universe, which is self-existent without the universe. So that is what the whole idea is. And people have been very active with questions. I will read some of those, then we will say the closing chant and then glide into meditation. Who is meditating? Is it the mind? Is it the jiva? What, quote unquote, you needs to meditate? Who is this person, this me? Me doesn't seem real enough, so does consciousness meditate upon itself? Well, ultimately you can say that, but really speaking, the ahankara is the one who is asking all these questions, Prashanti, that is the one who is meditating, okay? Who is the one who is asking the question? The ahankara. Yeah, so that is the thing. So that is what it is. You are nirguna and you don't really experience saguna, you relate to it as a devotee. Yeah, okay. Anything else? Yeah, I'm glad you're understanding Om Sadhana. That's very nice. Don't try it at home. All right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamevavashishyate. Om
Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.